Jesus, the man who fed 5,000 people with a boy's lunch, who paid his taxes out of a fish's mouth, who turned water into the best wine at the wedding, stood in front of a massive crowd and told them, "Before you build anything, sit down first and count the cost." The Son of God told you to budget. It is in red letters, and almost nobody preaches it. Luke chapter 14, verse 28. Suppose one of you wants to build a tower. Won't you first sit down and estimate the cost to see if you have enough money to complete it? Sit down, estimate, see if you have enough. That is a budget meeting, described by Jesus of Nazareth, commanded to a crowd of ordinary people. And if the Lord of glory thought counting was worth commanding, then counting is worth this entire video. Here is what's ahead. First, Jesus actually told two counting parables back to back in this passage, and the second one raises the stakes from embarrassment to survival. I'll show you both. Second, hiding in a 2-page book of the Old Testament is a verse where God describes your bank account with an image so precise, so surgical, that when you hear it, you will think he wrote it last Tuesday. That's coming in the middle. Don't miss it. Third, I'll take you inside the greatest budget in recorded history. 1%, written in Genesis, administrated by one man, that saved 2 entire nations from starvation. And at the end, I am handing you the 3-line budget. 15 minutes tonight, no spreadsheet, no app, no shame. Stay for all of it. Start in Luke 14 and notice the scene, because context sharpens the blade. Scripture says large crowds were traveling with Jesus. He is at peak popularity, and instead of riding the wave, he turns around and starts talking about cost. Counting the cost of following him. Yes, that's the context, discipleship. But look at the illustration he reaches for. Construction finance. Suppose one of you wants to build a tower. Won't you first sit down and estimate the cost? Jesus assumes that sitting down and counting before you build is so obviously wise, so universally understood, that he can use it as the self-evident example. Budgeting, to Jesus, is the thing everybody already knows you should do. And then he describes what happens to the man who doesn't. For if you lay the foundation and are not able to finish it, everyone who sees it will ridicule you, saying, "This person began to build and wasn't able to finish." Everyone knows that tower. You've driven past it. The half-built house at the edge of town, rebar rusting out of the concrete. The business that opened loud and closed quiet. The renovation that stopped at the studs. The course paid for and abandoned at Module 2. Unfinished towers are public monuments to uncounted costs. And in the ancient world, where your building stood beside the village road for generations, that monument mocked your name long after you were gone. Then Jesus immediately tells the second parable, and the stakes jump. Or suppose a king is about to go to war against another king. Won't he first sit down and consider whether he is able with 10,000 men to oppose the one coming against him with 20,000? Count before you build. Count before you battle. One parable is about embarrassment. The other is about annihilation. Because some financial decisions are towers. Skip the math and you lose face. And some are wars. Skip the math and you lose everything. Jesus commands the sit down for both. Now let me disarm the objection rising in some hearts. Brother, I don't count. I just pray and trust God. Listen to me with love. Prayer and math are not rivals. They are teammates. One asks the Father for the tower. The other makes sure the tower gets a roof. Proverbs 21, verse 5 holds the two outcomes side by side. The plans of the diligent lead to profit, as surely as haste leads to poverty. As surely. Planning leads to profit with the same certainty, the same fixed gravitational certainty that rushing leads to broke. It is the same physics running in opposite directions, and you are standing on one of the two tracks right now. Which brings me to the verse I promised, the one where God describes your account. It's in Haggai, a book 2 pages long, spoken to people who were earning but never advancing. Haggai chapter 1, verses 5 and 6. Now this is what the Lord Almighty says. Give careful thought to your ways. You have planted much, but harvested little. You eat, but never have enough. You put on clothes, but are not warm. You earn wages, only to put them in a purse with holes in it. A purse with holes in it. Let that sit. 2,500 years ago, God looked at a people who worked hard, got paid, and stayed broke. And he diagnosed it in one image. The money isn't failing to come in. It is leaking out through holes you have never inspected. And his prescription is right there in the verse, repeated twice in the chapter. Give careful thought to your ways. Not earn more. Think carefully. Examine. Count. So here is the diagnostic, and it stings. If $50 comes in and $50 disappears, and you cannot say where it went, you do not have an income problem. You have an awareness problem. You have a purse with holes. And no raise, no side hustle, no breakthrough can outrun a leak you refuse to look at, because holes scale with income. The leak that eats 50 will eat 5,000. The shepherds of Israel got the same command in shepherd language. Proverbs 27, verses 23 and 24. Be sure you know the condition of your flocks. Give careful attention to your herds, for riches do not endure forever. Know the condition. In an economy where your animals were your assets, God commanded a regular audit. Count the sheep, inspect the herds, and then gave the reason. Riches do not endure forever. Unwatched wealth evaporates. What you don't measure, you lose. Now, the greatest budget in history. Genesis chapter 41. Pharaoh, the most powerful man on earth, has a dream. 7 fat cows swallowed by 7 starving ones. 7 full heads of grain devoured by 7 scorched ones. None of his magicians can read it. Then a Hebrew prisoner named Joseph is pulled from the dungeon, and he interprets. 7 years of abundance are coming, followed by 7 years of famine that will scorch the land. But watch what Joseph does next, because this is where most believers would have stopped. He does not stop at the prophecy. He proposes a plan. Verse 33 and following. Appoint a discerning man, appoint commissioners, and take 1/5 of the harvest of Egypt during the 7 years of abundance, and store it in the cities as reserves for the famine. 1/5, 20%. One number applied with discipline for 7 straight years across an entire nation. And here is the line that should rearrange your theology of spreadsheets. Pharaoh's response: verse 38. Can we find anyone like this man, one in whom is the Spirit of God? A pagan king looked at a savings plan and saw the Spirit of God. Administration in Scripture is spiritual. Planning is anointed. The dream was heaven sent, but it took a budget to turn the dream into bread. And the results? When the famine came, the famine that should have erased Egypt, Egypt ate. Then Scripture says all the world came to Egypt to buy grain, and among them came Joseph's own brothers, which means the 20% plan didn't just save a nation, it preserved the covenant family that the Messiah himself would descend from. Genesis 50, verse 20, the saving of many lives ran through a storehouse. Never again call budgeting unspiritual. A budget carried the bloodline of Jesus through a famine. Comment counted right now if you're committing to sit down tonight. I want to see how many builders in this house are done laying foundations they can't finish. And while you're down there, this video is one brick in the biblical money blueprint this channel is building. The blade, the ant, Joseph's storehouse, the widow's jars, it's all one system, and it only works assembled. Subscribe so you get every piece. Now hear Jesus one more time, because he ties money management directly to your spiritual ceiling. Luke 16, verses 10 and 11. Whoever can be trusted with very little can also be trusted with much. So if you have not been trustworthy in handling worldly wealth, who will trust you with true riches? Read that again slowly. The handling of ordinary money is, according to Jesus, the entrance exam for true riches. Your budget is not beneath your calling. Your budget is the audition for it. In fact, God's very first economics course for Israel proves how central measured money is to him, and it happened in the wilderness with bread. Exodus 16. Manna falls every morning, and the command is to gather a portion, an omer per person, enough for the day. Some gathered extra and hoarded it overnight, and Scripture says it bred worms and stank. Except on the sixth day, gather double on purpose, because tomorrow rests. Do you see what God was doing? Before Israel ever handled money, he trained them in portioning. A daily measure, deliberate surplus only by design, nothing hoarded in fear. Manna was a budget you could eat. The provider himself put his own provision on a schedule and a serving size, because unmeasured abundance rots. It still does. So, as promised, the 3-line budget. 15 minutes tonight. Take your monthly income, write it at the top of a page, and divide it into 3 lines. Give, grow, live. Line 1. Give. The first portion leaves on purpose. Your tithe, your generosity, your open hand. First, not last, because the first slice trains the heart that manages the rest, and because Proverbs 3 says honor the Lord with your first fruits, not your leftovers. Line 2, grow. Every dollar with a future assignment lives here. The debt you are attacking, the emergency fund you are stacking, the investing you are starting. If you are in debt, this line is your war chest, and it eats before your wants do. Line 3, live. Everything else, housing, food, fuel, clothes, life. And here is the discipline that makes it biblical. You live on what is left, not on all of it, not on more than all of it. That arrangement has a name, and the name is debt. You live on what is left after purpose has been paid. 3 lines: give, grow, live. A child could read it, and a nation basically survived on it at 20% for 7 years under a man in whom Pharaoh saw the Spirit of God. Let me make the 3 lines concrete with easy numbers you can scale to your own. Say 3,000 comes in this month. Give. 300 goes out first, on purpose. Grow. 600 gets deployed. If you carry debt, most of it attacks your smallest balance. If you're debt-free, it splits between the emergency fund and investing. Live. The remaining 2,100 runs the household. Housing, food, transport, life. Your percentages will differ by season. A debt war might push grow higher. A thin stretch might pull it lower. But hear me, the order never changes, because the order is the discipline. On payday, pay the lines in order. Give moves first. Grow moves second, automatically if you can arrange it, before your appetite wakes up. And live operates on what is left. Most people budget in exactly the reverse. Live first, grow with the scraps, give if anything survives the month. Reverse the flow, and you have reversed your future. Then pair it with the 30-day tracker. For 1 month, write down every single thing you spend, every coffee, every subscription, every "it was only $10. You are not doing this to feel guilty. You are doing this to find the holes in the purse, and you will find them. Everyone does. Sewing them shut is the fastest raise you will ever receive, because it's tax-free and starts immediately. Now let me talk to you directly. Some of you have carried a quiet shame about money for years, the sense that everyone else got a manual you never received. Hear me. You are not bad with money. You are uncounted. Nobody sat you down, so you never sat down. But the Son of God just did what nobody else did. He sat you down. Tonight, with a pen, a page, and 3 lines, the uncounted life ends. And when you sit down to count, you are not being carnal. You are being like Joseph, like the shepherd who knows his flocks, like the builder whose tower gets a roof. Structure is not the opposite of faith. Structure is what faith builds with. If this landed, like the video so it finds the believer whose tower has been sitting at the studs, and share it with them, kindly, not as an accusation, as a set of blueprints. But before you go, I have to warn you about what happens when you finally sit down and count, because it happened to me. Most of you are going to find something painful in the numbers. A stranger's name written across your income. Money that leaves before you ever touch it, month after month, on a schedule you didn't set. Your bank has a polite word for that arrangement. The Bible has a very different one. And once you hear it, you will never see a monthly payment the same way again. That is the next video in the blueprint. It's on your screen right now. Go watch it. Sit down. Count. Then build the whole tower and put a roof on it.